Hello knitters! Today I want to show you how to knit in the magic loop. That means you can actually knit in the round without using DPNs, and you just need a circular needle. So I need my yarn and then I just need a circular needle. The circular needle should be long enough depending on how many stitches you cast on, and I will come to that later on again. So I will start casting on just normally the stitches I need, so nothing special here. I'm casting on 20 stitches. And you can cast on any way you want or as the pattern asks you to cast on. So I finished casting on my stitches. I casted on 20 stitches here, and then you will slide your stitches first on your cable, and then you will find your halfway point. So in my case that's 10 stitches, so I'm counting to 10 stitches. And that's where I will bend the cable and pull the cable out. So I have half the stitches on one side of the cable and the other half on the other side. And that's why it's important that your cable is long enough so you can actually have a cable that loops sticking out. I'm sliding my stitches to the needle points. So I have half my stitches on one needle and half on the other one, and then I turn both the needles so they're pointing to the right side, and I make sure that the needle connected to the working yarn is away from me, so that's important. And then I'm just checking if my stitches are twisted, and that's quite common, especially in the first 2 rounds of the magic loop, that you twist your stitches, so be careful. So make sure they are all aligned. And then I'm gonna pull out the needle which is connected to my working yarn, so the needle away from me, enough so I can turn the needle around, but I also have still that cable sticking out from the other side. Then I will take my working yarn and I knit in my first stitch. Now in the first stitch, make sure that you pull that stitch a little bit tight because you want to close that gap. You want to be close with that needle to that cable. That's how you close in the round. And then you knit over the stitches on the front needle, like you would just normally knit. So I'm knitting my last stitch now again, and that's what you always keep repeating. You turn your work to the right, so you flip, so both your needle tips are pointing to the right, and then you need to push the needle in. So again, both needle tips have the stitches on. So I'm gonna push the needle back to the stitches. You can also pull the cable, and as you can see now there is a twist, and I'm gonna get to that because that doesn't mean that you have to open it. You can actually fix it by, like, all you have to do is untwist it. As you can see here, I'm just taking that over, and then I'm just fixing the tail there too, and that's it. So you can see the important thing is that you have the stitches aligned. It's only in the first 2 rounds, I promise, and then it gets just easier. So again, my needle with the working yarn is in the back, and that's the needle I'm gonna pull out. Important thing here is that sometimes you have the working yarn wrapped around that needle. That's wrong. So make sure that the yarn is between the 2 needles. I'm pulling my needle out and around, and I'm gonna knit in my first stitch on my front needle. Again, pull it a little bit tight so you're actually touching the cable on the other side, and you'd keep knitting over your front needle. So I'm knitting again all my stitches on my second needle. Now I finished one round. So always over 2 needles you're knitting one round, and it shows that now here at the beginning I can see that my tail is now on the needle from the back, so that means I just finished one round. So now it's a new round. And again, always the working yarn is connected to my back needle. That's the needle you want to pull out and around, and you are knitting over the stitches on your front needle. And one more time, I'm turning my work, pull the cable so I have the stitches sitting on the needle tips. The needle with the working yarn is in the back. That's the needle I want to pull out and around, and I'm knitting the stitches over my front needle. And now, as you can see, slowly I have a little tube forming. So if I continue, it will grow and grow and grow, and I have my knitting stitches from the outside, and inside the tube you can see the pearls. Just the first 2 rounds are a little bit tricky, but trust me, it gets easier the longer the fabric gets. Give it a try.